All right, the time is 6:30. I'll call this work session of the mayor and council to order. We'll first go over the regular business and public hearing agenda. You all received a copy of the minutes. If anybody has any questions or objections.
Mayor, before we start on the agenda, if I may ask one question. I just wanted to verify that Ms. Richardson, as the new city clerk, was sworn in either on or after the June 26th meeting where we approved the
As
settlement.
I stated previously, based on my attorney's advice, I'm not re-administering the oath. She has received the oath, and just like a witness, once you're under oath, you've taken the oath, and I'm not re-administering it.
Okay, well, I understand your interpretation of that, but I just want it known on the record that I have concerns that as a part of the settlement that we all agreed to, that I feel like her oath of office should be administered, and out of an abundance of caution, I don't think it does anything to say that the oath wasn't effective January the 10th, but as out of caution for the city and the liability issue for even Ms. Richardson in signing off things as the clerk, I think to swear her in today, if she hasn't been sworn in since January or June 26th, would be totally appropriate and not a problem.
Okay, thank you for your opinion. We have the minutes from the,
Can I,
June
Ms. Powell,
19th.
can you add to that a little bit?
this
As
is
to where
not
we are?
something that's on our agenda, so we are gonna stick to our agenda, Mr.
But
Powell.
I think it's a legal issue, and I think
If
the
you want
issue
to,
should be
let Ms. Bender, let
recorded
me
on the
finish,
record.
please. I'm the chair and I'm conducting this meeting, please do not cut me off.
Well, I think we have some legal questions that if we don't answer now, that we're all in for trouble. And I've raised this at that
I've
meeting.
received the opinion from my attorney. This was not addressed in the settlement agreement. I'm standing by the opinion. Mr. Powell gave an opinion at the last meeting. I understand what his opinion is. There's a difference of opinion. That's not uncommon. here,
Your
but
attorney is
I-
not the city's attorney, which is
There
the attorney
difference
we
of
deal
opinion,
with.
Mr. Howard, let me finish. There's a difference of opinion, which is not uncommon. I'm going to proceed with this meeting. If you want to take it up in an exec session or sometime that's appropriate, but right now we're going over our work
Well,
session.
then let's just set it up for an exec session.
Well, this
At
is
the
this
appropriate
appropriate for
time,
an
you can
exec
call
session.
for it. But right now, we're going over the work session agenda.
It could, let me say
Mr.
this,
Powell,
just from an exec session calling, when you are speaking to a liability issue for the city, it would be an appropriate matter. for exec session.
Thank you.
you've received a copy of the minutes. Does anyone have any objections or questions about the minutes? We have no invited guests tonight. Mr. Williams, I don't see him here yet. but-
Mr. Williams will not be.
Not here. Mr. Sanders, do you have a report for us
It's going to
tonight?
be a short one, loose ends update on the LCI, but I'll hurry because I know we've got a long agenda.
We have no consent agenda for old business. We have a second reading and then the piece of property there between the church and the Walgreens, CVS there on City Highway.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick rundown. Basically, the applicant has requested a zoning change from OP to DP with variances. And the applicant is Snellville, represented by engineer Guy Abernathy. It's a little over a half an acre site with plans to develop a 5,000 square foot retail shopping center, basically 22 parking spaces. The site has some topographic challenges, 135 feet of road frontage on St. Highway. And there's several variances. There's a variance on the rear to maintain the variances that's the same as CVS measures of 40 foot, which there's an existing retaining wall there. They've requested additional variance from the buffer to the southern boundary, which is Grace Baptist Church. The applicant has provided a 20-foot enhanced landscape strip on that side. They've also requested monument sign to be a little bit closer to the road, since it kind of sits down a hole 5 feet. We granted those before administratively. It's up to you tonight. And they've also asked for a little relief from the architectural design standards. Typically, when they abut residential, they're required to do brick all the way to the ground. Seeing that they'll be down in a hole, there'll only be a certain amount, if any, to be able to seen by any of the adjoining property owners. So they're asking that they only have to be subject to installing the last 4 feet of the brick veneer on those applicable sides. That's basically the a rundown if I have any questions.
Question for Jason?
Sure.
Any discussion for work session? Okay. We have a first reading on a conditional use permit for House of Worship there in Fountain Square. That, I can get a motion to waive that to our July, what's that date?
28.
20th meeting. Then this will be our third meeting in accordance with state law for the millage rate before we have the resolution on the new business. We'll take public comment. Then we'll have the second reading on the ordinance that was the subject of a special call meeting June 26th. Does anybody have any questions or comments about that ordinance? We then have the resolution that will actually set our 2014 property tax millage rate. As you all know, the rate we set in the budget is 4.9 mils. The rollback rate is 4.512 mils. If we go forward with the rollback rate, we'll be about $200,000 short with our budget. Mr. Sanders, do you have a recommendation for us?
Well, I put my recommendation in the summary. Basically, I'm recommending the advertised 4.9 mil tax levy for both current needs and for planned expected future major city initiatives. If you look at the numbers, the $701 million digest gets us back to not even somewhere between 2010 and 2011. I mean, we make up 4 years with a lower millage rate than where the city was back in 2010. It is a number that I hope you'll consider. It's certainly up to you guys to do. I think you've discussed it. I missed one of the hearings, and I apologize for that. The rollback rate does not meet the budgeted revenue. So it's if there is another millage being considered, please at least meet that budgeted tax revenue number.
Well, first of all, correction there, 5.21 is $68,000 below our budget, not $200,000. And I think that's the budget we set, that's the budget we agreed to. I think my opinion is that we pass a millage rate which meets our budget, whatever that was. I think that worked out, I believe it was 4.6. 4.6 meets our budget. And I would recommend that, we approve the 4.6, because that's the budget we approved.
4.6 gets us at free.
For our
Gets
budget.
us to the budgeted revenue.
Does that get us exactly to that 3.2?
I can't tell you
It's
exactly.
4 point,
I think it's 4.61.
Okay, so let me go, let's go 4.62, just to make sure we're covered in full.
Other questions or comments? Okay. We then have the town green non-governmental use property. This was something we were told because of the Overcomers House. Mr. Sanders was told me that they are not going to be using the town green in August, but we have a draft. I don't know if we want to wait and go over this draft, since this is the first meeting we've had a completed draft, or if it's something council's comfortable moving forward with tonight.
So they're withdrawing their request from?
August the 2nd. You have, the draft that you have is an update based on all of your comments. We made a couple changes today. Just small changes. It's a 200 amp service. I was thinking about 225. And so we, it's a pretty thorough policy that if you choose to go in that direction, I think it provides some good guidelines. There is a blank in there. I mean, it's a recommendation. It might be My regular fee is the $250 for the 6-hour block with the deposit. There is a blank in there because I think you all did not determine what or if there would be a nonprofit rate. So that's something you would need to discuss and fill in.
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
the $250 fee is basically like we've done for our sister cities, is opening the stage, closing the stage, I mean, as far as personnel costs to do those kind of things. Is that?
No,
This
that
doesn't
just-
address the stage.
It does not address the stage. That is a $250 fee for 6 hours usage of the
Okay, so
grade.
that's just, we're just talking about the grade,
facility.
so not, so that would be extra, I guess is what I'm really trying to say. Okay,
And-
well, I didn't want, if you're gonna rent the green, the assumption would be that you would get the stage.
I'm not sure everybody would, I certainly did not put that in the
Okay.
available.
Okay. They just need to be treated
What's
separately.
available.
Yeah, they need to be.
Well, can we do this then? If they're not going to use it, can we put this on the next agenda as just as our agreed policy or agreed agreement?
Well,
That's what's
About
on
there.
for tonight, so that's.
it's on for tonight for us to go ahead, we could approve this draft as the contract so
Oh,
that the next
regardless.
time, right.
It's
So
on
that when
tonight's
they,
policy.
are they planning on coming back later? Or they just
Next
don't know?
year, next year.
Okay.
I talked to them, and they knew that, you know, right now, we couldn't fill in the blank. I was gonna recommend that we give it to them for free because of what, you know, they've been easy to work with, they backed off the date. The one thing I told them I could not do was take all the fees off the stage, because there's a cost for somebody to give up their weekend and come and close down
And
the
you
stage.
brought up something about, you know, the maintenance of it, and we need to build something in.
It's-
Somewhere along the line, when that stage was out somewhere, someone tightened on the stairs down to the point that the screw came up to the platform of the stage. Is that correct, sir?
Yeah.
I saw it, and so, you know, we do have to have it, because not everyone treats it as we do.
That
That's
would
the
be,
stage, right?
that's
Correct.
and I've talked to Gay and Craig about that. We haven't come up with a number yet, but I think there needs to be a maintenance fee involved. It won't be a lot, but it should be something to
What
cover
about the
things like
green?
that, and an annual maintenance.
What about for the green, because people don't always leave it as it should be left?
Well, that's why there's a $250 deposit.
I mean, for a nonprofit. I think it's-
That's
It's still a-
that's
it's
There's
still
a
a deposit.
$250 fee, and then there's a $250 deposit, so you're paying a total of $500 with the opportunity to get $250 back. if
Right,
they
that's
damage it.
for a for-profit entity.
But do we want to make a different rate for nonprofits? If we're going to move forward tonight, that's what we need to decide.
Well, you know, I don't think there's a problem. I think we have to have the $250
Deposit.
deposit, so that, you know, it's left in the same condition, that, I don't know if we want to charge them.
Well, yeah, I would say that.
Well, You still have the expense of cleaning up if they don't.
Well, no, yeah, we deduct that from $250.
Yeah.
If they don't clean up, they pay the $250 or whatever the amount of that.
I just
is.
hesitate to make it completely free
Okay.
for anybody, just because, you know, if it's free, number one, people tend not to take care of it. Number two, I think we're gonna be overrun with people that wanna use it, you know, all the time, and I don't know that that's really what our aim is here. It's just to make it available should somebody have an event that would warrant having a space like that.
And I think
Even
if it's
the stuff-
improved, it's going to be more desirable.
Right.
Well, absolutely,
right.
absolutely. And even at Briscoe, I think our nonprofits still pay a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the suggestion for a rate for the nonprofit?
This is not good from the market.
Yeah.
I would say like 175 or something like that, 150,
Pick one.
175. Huh?
150.
150,
It's not.
Yeah, give them $100.
and I would say 150, but I'd be fine with going forward and accepting or approving this contract, so it's there and available, so we don't have a problem when somebody comes.
And approving the policy.
Yes, yes.
And again, I wouldn't have any issue with 150, so, I mean, if that puts us where we want to be.
The policy says that the park, City Hall will be, lot will be available. Is there, do we need to ask that? I mean, what if City Hall is being used for another event? Do we need to add some language about availability?
Okay. We had that conflict before, where we tried to divide it. And we could say,
Based on a bill?
you know, we just add that language.
They'll know that when they apply, correct?
Most, I mean, it should.
They
It
should,
just depends
right.
on the calendar.
Right.
All right, then we have mayor's nomination, council's confirmation. I believe these are all people of Parks and Rec, DDA, and Snellville Arts Commission that were on the last agenda. That were recommended for reappointment. Does anybody have any questions about any of these people? These are not all the positions. I have not finished looking at all of them. Still be some vacancies besides reappointment. D&E is withdrawn. F is the SPOS agreement. You all should receive a copy of the revised agreement on Friday. Anybody have any questions about this SPOS agreement?
Okay.
It's late.
Well,
It's good.
whether or not this is the final version,
It wouldn't.
we don't know. I mean, we're dealing with the Gwinnett Law folks. This is the just received from Kim Conroy, the new Exhibit A, which would replace what we have in there. And it's basically the same thing, but said in a little different way. So I would ask, we really need to move forward with this item and the next one to get going on our projects. I would just ask that we approve the mayor's signature, we approve for the mayor's signature after legal review of the final document.
Authorize the mayor to execute.
Because I really, I can't tell you 100% for sure that this is the final version.
Questions? We then have the design for the sidewalk projects.
That's right. When we started working on, with the county, and you guys gave us the guidance on the 2 sidewalk projects, and we worked with the county on the 2 intersections. We went to our on-call engineer and we said, work us out a design and engineering proposal for the 2 sidewalk projects. The county's taking care of all of construction on the intersections. And this is the number. It's a maximum of $124,470, a competitive price, and it gets them working on these 2 projects. We know Park Patterson and Lee are fully capable, and I'm recommending that proposal be approved.
Questions? And then the LCI.
This is a standard document from Gwinnett DOT, indemnity and maintenance agreement. 2 of the roadways involved in the LCI are county maintained roads, Wisteria and Oak. And this is just a document that has to be passed by the mayor and council. I've asked adoption in the same form as the IGA. Approve the mayor's signature when Mr. Powell finishes his review of it.
Okay, questions? We have 2 Dodge Durangos that we budgeted for. Chief, anything you can tell us?
Other than, they are on state contract, as long as we pay them within 20 days, we do get a discount. The original had budgeted line item, this actually comes in with the purchase of this one and the next one, about 2,000 over what that line item was. So we have a separate line item, well, a little bit more than that. We have a separate line item of $18,000 for cameras. The cameras are included in the first bid. 2 of the cameras are included in the first bid, so actually, all in all, we'll come in somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000 below budget.
Questions about anything on I or J for the chief?
What about the Impalas? I thought
They're both.
they were more expensive than the Chargers, and we were going to Chargers.
No, they're really not. This is included with all the emergency equipment included in there as well. The actual price of the cars is less. I guess I didn't put that in there specifically, but it's $20,000 and it comes in less.
The Durango chief just asked if you have it on here, they're for patrol. I thought we had the charges for patrol and the SUVs were for supervisor.
There would be supervisor in patrol.
Oh,
It'll be marked like a patrol car, it will look like a patrol car.
And
They
the
are-
Ocala's are detective and they're more nondescript.
Yeah, they're pretty much all administrative type vehicles.
Pretty much nondescript.
Then we also have the purchase of a truck and, I don't know what that is.
Chassis.
But what is that, like a dump truck?
Yeah.
Is that that's the dump truck we budgeted for. Anybody have any questions for Gay or Greg? Anything you guys want to add?
Just the truck that we spec'd out.
What's delivery? When do you think you'll get it?
I think he said within 4 to 6 weeks.
Cool.
And this was within the budget amount?
Yes,
A little less, I think.
it is a little bit.
And that brings us to our work session agenda. Opioid hospital, Mr. Sanders.
Passed out some numbers we received from HDR. I don't want those numbers to scare you. It looks like a lot of money, but there are several items on here that Lisa and Danny and I feel like we can reduce fairly substantially. So it is, I think you just wanted kind of a starting number. Robbie is, I think he's going to be out here. I meet every Wednesday with Lisa. I think he's going to join us for our Wednesday meeting. We're rebidding the softball complex, so we'll massage these numbers and get them down pretty significant. Everything from the survey to the concrete sidewalk and the picnic table, the boardwalk. These can be 1,000 feet of boardwalk is not going to be necessary. We're just going to hit the lowest area in the back. We'll bring those numbers down, but at least this shows you the items that will be included right now in the work. And so it's and some things might be relocated, but that's where we are right now. You'll see Casey Tree service out there doing a little more clearing for us, as well as their regular spraying maintenance. So we hope that the plan is to bring this back to you in a little more solid form, get it approved, and be working on the park and the sidewalk at the same time and open them jointly.
Can you present this to the Parks and Rec board and have them come back with their recommendations to us?
Sure.
And put that, I guess, on our August work session?
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? Town Green on governmental use policy, that's on our agenda, we don't need to go over that again. Town Green update, Mr. Sanders.
The Town Green update, Eric has been working with the route design people very closely, and he has a short update for you through all his meetings.
It's written in front of you, so I will go over everything that's written there, but basically we issued an RFP in the beginning of February. We had 3 respondents. We set up a review committee of a council member and a citizen and some of the staff. The review committee unanimously selected Route Design as the group that's working on it. We did that in March. In April, we held our first stakeholder meeting. Staff was involved in that. Users of the use of the green were involved in it as well. And we've been having consistent meetings over the last couple of months to continue to help them refine the design. I expect 1 to 2 more meetings for that purpose, and then to bring a kind of a finalized thought back to council sometime in August.
I'd like to see, before we get to a final thought, I'd like to see what that was the purpose of putting this on here. I wanted some input as to what the design and the direction is going. So if we don't have that today, I'd like that to get emailed to us.
Well, I think the idea is to come to the next work session.
We
Right,
can
but
do that.
before there's a finalized
Oh,
plan, I'd like to see the preliminary
absolutely.
stuff. So
You'll
we can
just
have
see-
that in either, I need to come upstairs and see it, or that's why I had asked for it to be put on today. So if it's not available today, I'll come upstairs, or if you can email it to all of council, that will be fine, but let me know.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions on the boundary? The Briscoe Park, Lisa's not here, so I'm assuming you don't have,
The bid came in with one bidder. The bid was not open. We're re-advertising, and hopefully we'll have several on 8/18, which will be the next bid opening date.
What's going on?
Again,
Is everybody busy now?
What's that?
Is everybody just at work now?
There is, when you talk to these folks, timing's bad, schedule's full, bonding capacity is used up. I mean, the recession put a lot of people out of business. Things are starting to pick up now, and there just aren't as many folks out there doing the work. We're reaching out and trying to recruit interested folks. Two people did tell Robbie that the timing was bad. I couldn't do it. I'll do it in August. So, I mean, it's doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's kind of where we are.
Well, it's kind of a bittersweet thing, you know, it's good that people are busy again, construction's picking up.
You would think, I mean, a $2.5 million project, you would just think there would be more people interested.
but again, the reason I put it on for the agenda tonight was not necessarily for the bids, but to see the updated design.
I can
So
email that to you.
Email us the updated design. Any other questions?
I mean, has the design changed since for the softball field?
It's two fields, a playground, a concession stand. It's pretty standard. We'll send that out to everyone.
They recently met with the
HDO.
HDR and updated the design before they put it out for bid. Fountain Drive ownership.
We, in talking to the deed research folks, I don't have the paperwork, but I got the word that it is not the city of Snellville's property.
But can we find, the doctors up there would like to contribute to get the fountain running again. We're talking about the old East Side Hospital, there's a fountain that's abandoned. But we need to know who an owner is in
Yeah,
order to get
our
that
title work
working.
included the actual, we were looking to see if it was titled as a city, it's not a dedicated street. It's declaration control that I put the names on the title.
Can you send that?
Yeah.
Updated job descriptions and salary ranges. I had asked if there was any job positions in the city that didn't have a description or didn't have a salary
We're
range.
going through everything now. Gabby and I are looking at but there are a lot of old ones in there that don't exist anymore. Trying to update all of the newer positions. We're working on department head job descriptions because we've never had those. So I'll have a full list to you by July 28th.
Okay. And is that not something that Malik worked on when he did our,
He did very few. I mean, he looked at, for instance, the HR department. He didn't get into the weeds very much as far as the
And
basic documents.
and going back to look for that, we received a final report from Malik. Then my notes showed that you and the chief were gonna follow up, and we were gonna get the final report after his final report, and I never showed that we ever got that. I don't know if anybody else. So
Is
I
it
don't-
amended? I thought we did that in an executive session.
I don't have it anywhere, so if we did, if maybe you can just resend it to us, or if we need that date in an exec session, we can do it at the next meeting,
Okay.
but I couldn't locate it.
I've read a copy of his full report, I wasn't on council and nothing.
Okay. Oh, I'll send that out to everyone.
Does anybody else have any questions about the job descriptions?
No, I'd like an executive session with all the personnel matter.
Okay. CFI, a new traffic study funding. Some of you were at the meeting, I don't remember, a couple weeks ago with the owners of Snellville Plaza. They have come to us. The CFI essentially is going to prevent, if you're going towards Loganville, you won't be able to turn into the Provino Shopping Center on 78. And if you're coming out of the shopping center, you won't be able to turn towards Loganville. If you're on 124, you won't be able to turn left out of there. So their argument is that essentially we are halting their business and their productivity for the businesses in there. So we've been working with them for probably over a year now. They took the initiative. I was very impressed. They actually hired some engineers and took the initiative and came up with the concept and presented the concept of 2 red lights, one there on Scenic at Norton and one on 78 and Civic. The question is how that will affect the CFI, because the whole purpose of the CFI is to have traffic continuously flowing, and if you have a red light that close, is it going to back up traffic, and how far is it going to back it up? The DOT responded with a letter today giving them what they needed to decide if they would approve this new red light or not. The red light is something that other businesses in the area have also asked for. It's not just Snellville Plaza. The DOT has given the owners of Snellville Plaza until August 22nd to get a traffic study done to show how this will affect the CFI. That was the response we received from the DOT today, the Georgia DOT. Originally, the owners of Snellville Plaza were asking the city to step up and help pay for that traffic study. At this point in time, it's my understanding that the owners are going to undertake the cost of that traffic study themselves. So there's not anything for us to do, just an update as to what's going on.
Can we get a copy of that?
This is the letter that we got from Snellville Plaza on
Sure, we'll send that all to
on July 3rd.
And we are putting together.
What was the communication today? Sorry.
I got an email from DeVita just saying that they gave a deadline of August 22nd.
It was from GDOT to, I guess, responding to Scott's initial letter, kind of giving basically just an outline of what they need in a study.
I'd like to get a copy of, I was in the meeting with them back in December. I wasn't able to attend this most recent one. If I can I get a copy of what they proposed? Do they have like a drawing of it, or just?
They do. They have a mitigation drawing, and
The drawing of that plus the correspondence, just so we can keep up with what's happening.
Other questions? And then the planning retreat.
We all know that February we tried to do a planning retreat and that didn't work out, and part of the issue was that we had the issues with the city manager and the city clerk. Now we've got those resolved. I think it's important that we as a council and department heads sit down and get together what our priorities are for the next 12 months. So I've asked Butch to check into maybe some dates or a way that we could do a planning session. And I believe Butch has talked to Carl Vinson. If you want to let him know what you found.
Carl Vinson has had a couple of personnel changes. Murray Weed is no longer there. Gordon Maynard, who I think y'all have dealt with before also, is working on planning sessions and retreats now. Because of him being the only one working on it, they don't have any dates until September. They do have the last two Friday and Saturdays in September available. And I think that's the 19th and the 26th. We did not have to pay the University of Georgia, the Continuing Ed Center, and we won't have to pay them unless we don't use it in a year. We've got a year to use that time over there. And Gordon would be the one who would be the facilitator for any retreat, and he'd like to come. If you choose to move in that direction, he'd like to come to a mayor and council work session to talk about that.
What were those dates?
The last 2 weekends in September.
19th and 26th are Fridays. It'll be those weekends.
Be that Friday and then Saturday morning.
And I believe I can do either of those.
I can't do the second, the September 26th, but I don't know about the 19th.
I haven't looked at the football schedule yet.
Over by noon on Saturday should not be interfered.
Oh.
It looks like I could do either of those weekends.
I can either one.
And I'm good with either one right now.
The day before.
There are home games both of those weekends. What do they do for parking? Because I know that's a huge tailgating area.
Well, I mean, we'd be there on Friday.
We stay up there.
Okay.
Okay.
Hit the park in the deck.
Any other questions? Mr. Pearson, did you have, or did you know to bring the exec session language? Do you have that? If not, we can take a recess and get it, and we can come back and do exec session.
Crazy. Stop it.
During the work session, the mayor and city council of Snellville, Georgia, mayor and council announced that certain matters should be discussed in the closed session of the meeting. As council advised the city to respect the closing of the meeting.
Hi, Marcy.
Hi, Ron. Discuss pending and potential litigation.